You are now entering the Queen's Quarter. We are powerful, strong, and rulers in our own right. There's a queen in you, there's a queen in me. Every woman is a queen.
Makes him.
Good day, queens and kings, QQ royalty. We are so happy to see you all. We miss you so much. Anytime we're not with you, we miss you. Do know that. We're going to start off, for those that do not know who we are, we're going to start off with our roll call. I'm Queen T, and I'm repping the 50s Club.
Hello, I'm Queen Emma, and I represent the 60s Club.
Hello, everybody. I'm Queen T, representing the 50s Club.
Hello, QQ Royalty. It's Queen Tansy, representing the 40s Club.
What's up, guys? It's Queen Lady B, representing the late 30s.
Hey, y'all. I'm Queen I, representing the early 30s.
Okay, now you have it. That's our Queen's Quarters, guys. Now we have Queen T with Tea Time.
Hello, everybody. You know what time it is. It is tea time with Queen T. Now, we're always talking about teas with health benefits, but let me give you the top 5 teas with great health benefits. We have green tea, jasmine tea, hibiscus tea, lemon tea, and robust tea. Now remember, your loose teas give you so much health benefits, more than the ones that you buy with the little tea bags. So go to your local health food store, find you some loose teas, and make you a cup of tea, and let's see what's going on in Queen's Quarters today.
There you have it, guys. Get your tea. Got mine. Okay, we're gonna tackle a good one today. All things workplace. Now, we all know that we just came out of the pandemic and people are going back into the workforce, dealing with other people. People have been at home, on Zoom, doing their own little thing. So we just want to know how you're dealing with this, how you're getting back and dealing with, being next to your coworker, working hand in hand, working side by side. So we would like to know, we're going to open up the panel to anyone that has something that they want to say about the workplace. I personally haven't been in a workplace as of a couple of months, but I just want to know how my panelists are dealing with the workplace right now. Anyone want to jump in?
I'll start. I mean, I haven't actually left the workplace at all. So through the pandemic, I have worked. I guess I never knew that I was an essential worker until the pandemic, because I really thought that was just for healthcare workers. But it just come to find out, because I work in housing, so we with disability and senior citizens. So me working throughout the whole time, I know our office was a little scarce, and now it still is a little scarce, believe it or not, because like you, Thais, a few people surgery, a few people are still out. A lot of people did do FMLA. So I would say basically until like the school year start, a lot of people's schedules are still kind of weird. So I can't say for me that everything has returned completely normal. But more people are working. It's not as scarce as it was before. But a lot of changes have been made. Like, we can't really have the tenants in the office unless like they're leasing up and doing new lease ups and things like that. Got to maintain your 6 feet distance, and of course we have to be masked up, everyone. I know for some that may have received their shots or whatever, they still have to be masked up. I know in some workplaces they don't, and they've separated the shots versus the non-shotters. But over at where I'm at, I would say that's the main difference. And then our communication and how we get our information to the tenants, we have to have it delivered by by the security guards. They can't necessarily. So it's a difference in our communication, but we've learned to work through that. Of course, the meetings, it's no meeting where we're all going to one central location, which is our headquarters. Everything is Zoom. Everything is still like that. So that's still kind of different. And so we're working on it, our new normal. We're
That's
trying
what I
to,
was about to ask you.
yeah.
I think that it will go back to the way it was now that everyone's adapted to this new way of life now.
I think we're looking towards that. I think come September when all the children go back to school and once again the shotters versus the non-shotters, and they'll probably have us segregated in some type of way within the meeting. But I do think we're getting back to that at some point. I think it's going to be a little ways down within the new year coming up, but I do think at some point it will, because they're relying heavily on the shots. So we'll see how that goes. That's for kind of my side so far that I'm seeing.
You know what, Queen Taz, I could agree with you. I also was an essential worker and I did not really have any time off of work. We worked a lot during that time to keep things flowing when a lot of people were at home. We worked a lot of overtime because a lot of people weren't there for reasons like childcare, things like that. And it's funny that you mentioned childcare because, we have a new variant out right now. So I don't even see that possibly going back, the kids going back to school 100% in September. So that workforce may be out again. I don't know. But we worked a lot of overtime during that time because of the pandemic and because there was a lot of people not there. They were in and out due to what was going on, but I have not had the ability to be home and have a little time with my family, which was unfortunate in a sense, and still get paid. However, traveling to work was amazing and I didn't have to deal with the traffic. But now that some people are back at work, it's like we're back to that hustle and that bustle. So I did enjoy not having all of that traffic during rush hour time to get back and forth to work. But I don't know about September. I think we may not get back to normal.
Well, Queen T, let me ask you a question. Did you see a difference in your workforce when the pandemic hit, and do you see a difference now?
Oh, definitely.
I'm talking about the difference between people coming to work, the difference between how they dealt with it. Did you see a difference?
I mean, it's so much going on right now. There's a lot of people who are taking the jab, so they need time off to do that, just in case they have any reactions. And then, we still have people that's kind of in and out because of childcare and stuff like that, and whatever other reason, like surgery, whatever. So we still have a lot of that going on, but overall, of course, there was definitely a difference in the workforce, and it still is. It's not back 100%. And it actually was ironic is that, the place that I work for is a very public place, which I don't want to announce. However, they created some jobs where people can actually work from home. That wasn't a thing in this particular field prior to this situation that we're dealing with. So that, I guess, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but I guess it's a good thing because now there's a lot of workplaces that allow their employees to work from home. They've made a provision. They made a way for them to be able to do that. And in my particular job, in my particular profession, we've never been able to do that. So that's kind of bringing us up to speed with being able to have jobs that we can work from home. So I think that was a good thing that came out of it. But yeah, the workforce it's not 100%, and I don't know if it will be.
And speaking of that, Queen Nine, I know you're still one of the ones that are still working from home. How has that affected you?
Well, it's very different. I was a commuter, going back and forth on the trains, back and forth in the city. So, like, for me to be home inside for over a year, I just had to adjust. You can't get too comfortable. Well, actually, to be honest, it seems like when you're actually working at home, you're working even more, because at least at work, you get to take a little break. You can talk to your coworkers, get distracted. But at home, you just don't want to leave your computer because you don't never know, like, if your manager say something, your team members say something, like you just always want to be there. So I find myself working actually more, being that I'm in front of this computer. Of course, all meetings are Zoom. The meetings that used to be conference calls, now we're all on Zoom. It's up to the manager or the people who's actually hosting the meetings to say camera on or camera off. So you have to be prepared either way. I have not really been in the office literally in over a year, since March of last year. We're expected to go back in September, but they do want us to take the shots. I don't disagree with that. That's fine on my end. I'm ready to go back though. I'm excited to go back. It was nice being home, but I think it's time.
Time to go back. Yeah. How about you, Queen B?
Well, can I ask Queen a question? I spoke to some people who they originally started working from a workplace. So they commute. So now they're working from home and they find it kind of difficult to work from home. I don't know if what reason that is, but I'm just thinking like, maybe you got to get yourself up and get dressed or look like you're dressed and you're going nowhere. So is it more difficult to work from home, or, you know?
In the beginning, it was very difficult because you're home. You don't even want to get out the bed. But also I found myself like, basically you have to make yourself like a workplace at home. Like sit up, have a desk, even chair, and don't be in your bed. Also treat it as if you're like at work. You can't just be trying to wash your clothes and cook and talk to, if you have kids and you have family members that live with you. Don't do all that. You're at work. Stay at a workplace that's like uncomfortable, not your bed, and it'll work. But at first it was very like, I have background noise. You just get distracted. Phone calls, anything. Before at work, we wasn't even able to use our phones. But now, what are they gonna say?
Hey guys, have you seen that video where a guy was, had his suit, had his shirt and tie on? He thought he was off. He got up and then he had his underwears on. So everybody was just looking at him.
It's a lot of those, like them little Zoom things. People think they camera off and they be using the bathroom. It's a mess.
Yeah, I've actually seen that myself. I thought it was quite funny. Yeah, you have to be very aware of what's going on in your environment when you're working from home. You have to be conscious. Even sometimes when we're recording, people want to walk by, and I'm like, wait a minute, So we still have some distractions when we're trying to, record for Queen's Quarters.
And now that we're in this virtual life, like when you go on interviews and stuff, before it used to be like a phone call for me, and then I meet with them in person like 1 or 2 times. Now it's like they talk to me on the phone, then I have a virtual interview, then I have one more, and then like another one. And if they want another one, you can have another one. I'm just like, okay, this virtual life, they taking it to the extreme. We ain't had all these interviews before.
Right, that's a total difference, because when I started work, when I was working, and I've been in my field of work for some years, some centuries now. And back then, I know when we filled out an application, it was like filling out a I don't know if anybody remember the phone book. It was like filling out a phone book of papers that we had to fill out. It is so totally different from back then till now, how they do things. I know. How about you, Emma? How was it back then for you?
Well, it was like that when I was working. You fill out all the paperwork necessary. You fill out 1,000 forms, things of that nature. Because it was like that when I started working. But that was like years ago when I was working.
Right.
I've been retired since 2017, so I don't have no issues with the workforce.
Well, I can't wait to see those days.
Right.
Lady B, have you been able to work from home, or you been at home?
No. I wish that was the case. I too am considered an essential worker, and I would have never thought that was the case, considering the company I work for. Not to downplay it, I'll share with you guys. I work for an alcoholic beverage distributing company, so we're very essential. No, I didn't get that at home break. The only time I came home for 3 weeks was when I got sick. Right back to work after that. I'm like, right back to the office. Now that I was nervous. I was nervous about returning because I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get sick again? Yeah. But like, no, like, in a sense, you miss seeing, because we have a big building, a big company, so you constantly see people, conversing, coming in and out of the building, so you kind of miss that. But then it's the peaceful part of it, where it's like only 2 to 3 departments are in the building, so you really get to just focus as opposed to, being distracted with so much. But no, I was jealous for a second. Like, I want to
Right.
work from home.
Right.
I want to be home. But I mean, we do on some Sundays. We have overtime, so I get that feel like the 4 hours of being home, working from home. But no, full time in the office, and like you stated, not our other employees are due to return in September with restrictions, and like you stated, Queen Tans, whomever is not vaccinated, you're kind of on this side of the building, and those who are, we still have to wear our masks. So I feel some type of way about that. I'm like, so is this going to be forever? So if I never get vaccinated, I'm going to always have to wear a mask? That's annoying. And people that are vaccinated right now at my job, they're not required to wear one. And they can sit together, they can converse together and all of that. So.
But that's so crazy, because I hear so many different rules and regulations. They're saying like, okay, if you're vaccinated, but you're in a place where there's other people, they still require that you wear your mask. So like, say you're in a little gathering and there's so many people, but if you're outdoors, you don't have to wear your mask and you're fully vaccinated. Like, it's just so many different rules and regulations. And I know some of them depends on where you work, because where I work at, it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. They require that everybody wear their mask, because we're inside, we're in a building, there's hundreds of us and we're working inside. So that's understandable, that we do have to wear masks.
But our governor actually, he took off the mask mandate. So we don't even have to wear masks when you go inside the supermarkets and stuff. Like,
right.
Yeah, I don't know if he said vaccinated or not. I don't remember right now, but like, people are not required to like wear their mask anymore. It's kind of weird.
That's true. Especially in stores. You're right, Queen. You go in stores, like some people have it on, some people don't.
But on the stores, they recommend that if you have not been vaccinated, that you wear a mask. And they say on the usually the stores that I've been in, they say if you have been vaccinated, masks are not required. However, if you have not been vaccinated, please wear your mask.
Yeah,
they know.
Yeah, they don't know though.
They wouldn't know. I guess they're going on the honor system.
Yeah, they are. Right. Because Walgreens, I was at Walgreens. I heard that. Yeah, come across.
Yeah, I know in the hospital you have to have a mask.
Yeah, the hospital for sure.
You have to have a mask. Yeah. But I know one thing: when COVID did hit, I'm going to talk about the workforce at this point, because when the COVID hit, we had no one, and I'm talking about during the Christmas time, because it was around Christmas time. We had no one applying for work, no one coming to work. So our workforce was so light. So we had to get the millennials to come to work. Now, I'm telling you, dealing with the millennials and when actual doing physical work, it's like unheard of for them. It's very unheard of. So it was very hard for me as a supervisor to deal with the millennials, because if they felt as though the work was too hard, because in my profession, we work long hours. And if they felt like the work was too hard or they working too long of hours, they quit at the drop of a dime.
Oh, wow.
They quit at the drop of right then and there. They're quitting. And they of course, the money have to be right or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, the workforce now has changed tremendously from from the time that I started. From the time that I started working, we in my job, we were like a family. But you don't realize how much you miss that. And we have the opportunity to go from one building to another building in bidding. And I went to another building and I see how it changed from where I was before into where I am now. It's like people are, I don't know, I think they're all for self. They're distant. They're not, I mean, there's no communication. I don't even know what it is anymore, but it's so different, especially because of the millennials that's coming on now. Things are just not the same. And I don't think it'll ever be the same, because I believe millennials look at Well, and I'm not going to really speak for all millennials, but the ones that I have encountered, they feel like that they can do better um, than than manual work. So I don't know if anyone else have came across this.
Well, Queen Ty, the workforce, I think it's more so the work ethics is changing. We're considered, I know I am considered one of the older people in my building. And now and it's funny because when we used to work and we go into the cafeteria, everybody knew everybody, from tour to tour, we all knew each other. But now you going in, you don't know nobody. Because a lot of us that when I came in to the building, they retired, some of them have passed away, but the workforce is definitely changing. But I think it's also the work ethics. In our minds, when we grew up, it was always about you start from the bottom and you work your way up. Now they want to start from the top and keep going up. It's like I'm sorry.
Like for me, do you blame us? People who have worked hard and got their degrees. Like I don't want to start at the bottom, and
this particular job does not require a degree, and a lot of us have college education, so that's not an issue here. We have a lot of college graduates in this building. It's not about that. It's about, this is a business that you have to learn, and once you learn how it operates, and then you can move yourself up. But I noticed over the years, not even just, like I said, it's morality, it's professionalism is changing. When I first came into this business, you had to apply for everything. You had to be qualified for things. Now you don't have to be qualified. You just could be a friend of a friend, and you got the job. And so the morals of our leaders are actually changing. And the attitudes of the young people, don't get me wrong, I feel like we all need to be making a good amount of money, because our living, the cost of living is expensive. Yeah. So should we all be making a good amount of money? I don't care what you do, whether you are a server, whether you are in management, we all should be making some level of money. And that's an issue right now. I just watched an article, I think it was in Nebraska, but I don't want to say it was and it wasn't, but I think it was Nebraska, where a whole bunch of employees at Burger King just quit because of the conditions, because of, the heat, and they're not being provided with proper air, because of management, because they're not making enough money. Right. And so now we're in a society where everything needs to be reset, not just our finances and what we're getting paid to do a job, but also the cost of living. Yeah. So that's just one aspect of the situation. And yes, I don't blame anybody. I encourage anybody who want to go into a profession and move up the ladder. I encourage that. But there has to be a proper way to do it. You just can't go into a company and become the manager, because now what's happening is you are losing. Some of these people don't have the ability to be a manager. They don't have the personality. They don't have the qualifications. So now this business is suffering, because the employees are suffering under this person who doesn't know maybe what they're doing, or even if they know what they're doing, maybe they don't have a professional attitude to deal with different people's personalities. So, that is definitely something that I believe is changing in the workforce with the millennials coming in. That family unit is changing, and as well as we also were fighters. When something happened and we weren't with it, it wasn't right, it wasn't legally right, we stuck together and we fought. Now, you could barely get people to stick together to fight for what's right. So that's something that we've lost, and we need to come back to that.
I have a question for y'all. Do y'all think that it's easier for people to quit because they know that you can get on unemployment, and also there's like an extra money's coming in with the unemployment? It's not going to last long, I heard, but do you think that's one of the reasons why?
I think that's crazy, because there's still, like, some people are still waiting to receive.
Waiting what?
Right, waiting to receive. Yes.
Really?
To receive it. Yeah, that's a risk. I don't know if I would be. Well, great points, Queen T, and great question, Queen Nye, because I've been seeing that, like, people are like, and that goes back to what we're saying about the work ethic. It's affecting it, because it's like, oh, okay, if I get fired, then I could just apply for unemployment benefits and I'll be straight, but like, you don't know if that's going to be as smooth as it sounds for you. Yeah, everybody has to take a number and have a seat, you know, and while
That's right.
working, get your paperwork in order. So I think that's a very unhealthy and risky way to go about life. I
You,
wouldn't do that. Like your job is just as important, regardless of what the government or whoever is offering. It's still important, and try your best to keep it, because there are still a lot of people who are out of work and don't know where their next source of income is going to come from.
but you know what, B, I think that's what we're told. I don't think that's what's really going on. And let me tell you why I say that, because I know people, like you said, who actually waited 4 or 5 months to get unemployment. Now we know if you get fired, there's a waiting time for that as well.
Right.
So and then what happened is there's a group of people that's online that's chatting and coming together saying, hey, we're not getting our unemployment. What do we do? So now they're going through other channels and they're giving each other information on who they need to contact in their particular area to try to get help. I know people who actually went through this. So thank God they lived with someone and they didn't have, they didn't have their own bills and rent and things like that. So they had 4 or 5 months they had to wait and go through channels to get that money. So I think that's a narrative we've been being fed, but I don't know if that's true.
Right.
I heard what y'all was saying about how the millennials come in thinking they're going to be on top as soon as they come in. But also I heard different stories about millennials. I heard like business owners saying that thank God for the millennials because they're doing the jobs that people don't want to do. Like there was a restaurant owner that was a family friend, and he basically said if it wasn't for the millennials wanting to work as many hours as they did, getting their tips and stuff, his business probably would have went downhill. So it's like, I hear y'all talking about these millennials, but don't.
Well, I guess it depends on what environment.
That's what I was going to say, Queen Todd. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Right. Well, the workforce that I work in, it's hard work and it's physical work, and they do not want to do the physical work. They do
you got to be mentally prepared as well as physically, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I've heard the same thing on my job. Oh, if it wasn't for the millennials, if it wasn't for these new hires, and let me tell you something. But when they want that job done and they want it done right, they come get the old folks because they like, listen, we know they know that job. We were trained, and we're there. And so when I say they use it, and let me tell you something, we did not get hazardous pay. Not yet. So all those that's out there that's watching, give us some hazardous pay. We need back pay.
Cut it off as soon as they could.
Exactly. Right.
For a little while.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to completely knock the millennials because you have some old timers that are so set in their ways, and they feel as though they have the time. They put their time in.
We have to do it
let the young ones work.
Which is so like not right. It's not right.
Right, and you have that as well. So you have to now deal with people with that mentality, and then you have to deal with the young ones and their mentality. So nothing's really getting done. Like
exactly, that's true.
Done. So I mean, being a supervisor in this workforce that I'm in, it's not easy. It's not easy because you have to deal with your manager who wants you to get the work done no matter what, and then you have to deal with the employees that do not want to work, and that feel like they have the time and they don't put their time, which I understand that, but you come to work to get a paycheck.
That's right.
So you have to work regardless of how you feel. So I mean, it's rough no matter how you look at it.
Queen Emma, I have a question. I know you're happily retired. Would you ever come back to the workplace, or you just happy in your retirement state?
No, I might consider doing something different from what I did before. Before I worked for the judiciary, I don't think I would ever do that anymore. But because I have a degree and certificate and experience, I'm not trying to do like a target, And then because of my age, I'm not trying to do stuff where you lifted heavy boxes and that kind of stuff. So I may decide to go back to the workforce, but in making that decision, I have to really consider what it is that I would be willing to sacrifice for. Because I'm not trying to do no heavy lifting. I'm not picking up no boxes. I'm not standing on my feet for 6 hours. I don't have a problem with customer service or like secretarial things of that nature. And I don't know what the average pay is now, but like I'm not going back to no $6 an hour job. I'm not doing none of that. But I wouldn't mind working because during the day, huh?
I said, I think that became illegal at this point, but I understand what you're saying.
You see, because I'm not working, I don't know. I don't know what the average
Right.
salary is. You know what I'm saying? When I was at one point looking for a part-time job at a department store, they were paying like $8 and $10, and then you stand up like 6 and 7 hours a day. And my thing is, I don't necessarily want to, years and years and years ago, I decided to get a part-time job at a supermarket, right? And I was working this supermarket job, and it was a part-time job. So I treated it with very little respect. I want you to know. So part of it was my fault. And I would work when they really needed me to. But if something else came up that seemed a lot more fun, I would tell the person, listen, I can't work that day. I have something else to do. And it was at a supermarket. So you stand up, you walk around, I was cashier, you help fill up the shelves and that kind of stuff, which in my opinion was like, okay. But I took a couple of days off, and one day I picked up my check, and my check was for like $8.38 or something like that. I quit that day. You understand what I'm saying?
I would have too.
I don't mean no harm.
Why waste my time trying to tell you I ain't coming to work and I ain't getting no money?
I don't even know how many hours I have put in. And like it was because it was part-time. I wasn't in the pension plan. I didn't have, no 401k or, none of that kind of stuff with them. And when I got that check for like $8, I called my friend that got me the job. I said, I love you dearly and I appreciate what you did, but this ain't worth it to me. And it was getting to be summertime. My kids were grown and out, so I was hanging out, I wasn't doing that for no $8. So I'm like getting back to the original question. I'm considering what it is that I can do, because now that my health is improving, things of that nature, I can stand to get something light and easy. But I gotta weigh my options. I gotta look at what's out there and how much they paying. Because I got a degree and some certificates behind my name. So I don't want, I don't want to walk around and hang up clothes in Target or, I don't want one of those kind of jobs unless they paying decent.
Right.
How much those jobs pay?
I don't really know that. I don't even know the minimum wage right now, but I do have one question for everybody. Because all of you guys were essential workers here, like not working from home. How did you prepare yourself, like mentally, to go out there and work, and you didn't know like about the pandemic? We ain't know nothing about it. So how did y'all really prepare yourselves to go out there and work? You just had to do it, right?
Just have to do it.
I'll tell you, it made you more conscious of washing your hands and being sanitary and keeping your distance. It definitely made you more conscious of that, and then making sure you're wiping down areas, which became habitual, and it's something you just continue to do as far as hand sanitizer when you touch everything. So, I think it just made me more conscious about keeping myself together, because I had loved ones that I needed to protect too, with the going in and coming back, especially elderly parents and children. And me and my sister was in and out, and she essential, I'm essential. So we both were just trying to stay away, keep our distance, and being more conscious of who we were around and what we exposed ourselves to.
Yeah. And in my case, I couldn't be that like 6 feet distance at all times. So I had to be more conscious as far as making sure I washed my hands after everything that I did. But as much as we tried to practice that, it wasn't always available, and it could have been for me. So me trying to stay away from my loved ones, I was working long hours as well. So I barely seen them anyway. So, because by the time I came home, I was tired, and by the time I woke up, I had to go back to work. So it was that routine for me, and knowing that number one, things had to be done. The reason why I was considered essential is because people had their medications coming in. So it was just things that I know that had to constantly keep moving in order for me to work and just keep my mind focused and off of what was going on.
Well, for me, I work with a lot of people, and there was so many scenarios where we could not work 6 feet apart, right in the midst and the height of the situation. I'm going to just say it like that, the situation. What I did, I think that was the most effective thing, was I did not allow fear to set in. I did not allow, like, if I stand next to Queen Tie, I'm going to catch something. If I stand next to Queen Tans, I'm going to catch something. I did not do that. I took care of, the minimal things that we can do, like washing our hands, things we're talking about. But I've watched shows on germs and how they travel, how easy it is to touch something and put that same glove on your face, and, and it just so it's absolutely no way. And if you think about a newborn baby, when a newborn baby is born, they have no germs. So they tell you, keep them, when I was growing up and having children, they was like, keep them in the house for X amount of time before you bring them out. So they can slowly get used to being in a germ-filled environment. So there's no way as people that we could get around being around germs. But what it did do, like Queen Tans, I agree, it made me more conscious about what I ate, taking care of my health, increasing my immune system as much as possible, doing research, going online, finding out what was out there that was available that helped boost your immune system. And I'm telling you, I had people that I worked directly right next to that had to go out. They didn't die, but they went out of work because they contracted it, and then they had to take time off. And some of them was a retirement age, so they decided not to come back and put their families in that type of risk. But for the most part, I did not go to work with the fear like, oh my God, because every time you turn around, I'm driving on a highway, billboards, here it is, right in my face. Every time you watch the news, right in my face. I didn't feed into that. Right. I didn't feed into that. I kept a positive attitude, and if I found out, somebody got sick, I just continued to take the precautions that I needed to take care of myself. So,
Queen T, that's a really good point, because I'll tell you, if they wasn't driving fear at that time, everywhere you turn, radio, TV, somebody talking about it, like, you really could not escape it. And I can honestly say, the attitude for me, for people when we return to work, just from some people just, trying to get back into the flow of not being lazy and actually doing work, having to come together and be a team player, just to kind of pick up where other people's weaknesses are and stuff. I tell you one thing, it definitely built character and awareness and consciousness. I mean, this pandemic change and where we are now has definitely brought some positive and negative things, but it's not really what happens to us, is how we respond to it, and how positive we choose to move forward in it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate the changes and the things that has taken place, because once again, we will never be the same. Queen.
Now, Queen B, I know you got something you want to add, but let me just say this one thing. So now we got this new variant out here now. Right. And the fear that they're pumping now is, if you're working next to somebody who didn't get it, then you can get it. Now, here's my thing. I'm a researcher, and I suggest that you all become a researcher, a thinker. And what I've noticed is that you might see so many people getting this variant, and now they're saying, oh, well, this percentage of people that's hospitalized. So when you tell me that they're hospitalized, that means they're in a hospital and they're really, really sick. They just don't put anybody in a hospital. They have been fully vaccinated. So we understand that being vaccinated does not stop you from getting it, but they're saying you shouldn't get as sick. So if you shouldn't get as sick, then you shouldn't be hospitalized. So now you got this thing that's being promoted. Well, now I got to be scared of you because you didn't get it or I got it. But it's like, so here's the new situation that we're dealing with right now. So we just have to really be researchers, become thinkers, and really decide what is true and what is not true, and don't walk around in fear.
I've heard just the opposite. I've heard that if you've been vaccinated, if you've been fully vaccinated, and the new variant comes upon you, you won't be as sick. You might get sick.
That's what I said.
You don't have to be hospitalized. The people who are hospitalized are people who have not received the vaccine.
And that's what I said. But I've heard that 8%. I heard that's exactly what I said. But I've read an article where 8% of people who had the new variant, they had been vaccinated. Now there's a celebrity right now who's sick right now. She's speaking out, but what she's claiming is that she got sick from someone who didn't get the vaccination, but she's been fully vaccinated.
Oh.
So why are you that sick? If you're fully, even if you got it from someone who wasn't vaccinated, why are you that sick?
And they also saying that the numbers are still increasing where people have not received the shot as much. The numbers are still increasing in those areas. I saw that on the news too.
Right, that is what's being promoted now. As we said, there's a lot of things and agendas being promoted. So that's the new promotion, that those that are getting sick are people who haven't been vaccinated. That's not true. Because what I've been reading is a little different than that. So now, Queen B, I know you guys to say about how you dealt with working and being during this time, how you prepared yourself.
Oh yeah, no, pretty much the same as everyone else was saying. My only fear was like Queen Tens and Queen Tasha going in and out the house from work and stuff. And at that time, my household size was a lot larger than it is now. Now, it's 3 of us. But before, when the pandemic hit, it was like 5 to 6 of us under one roof. So with my mom being older and the health issues that she has, and with my son having a past history with asthma, I think I was more nervous about them getting sick than myself. So that was really my only concern. And like I said, once I got sick and returning to work, it was like, oh God, am I going to experience that again? My only concern now is with this new variant. Like, what are the symptoms?
Right.
Just saying you're gonna lose your sense of taste and smell and all that stuff again. Like, I don't know. I mean, I can't really. I try to watch what I share because my views are a lot different. Some of the stuff I feel like are just a scare tactic. Like,
okay.
I don't know how I feel. If I'm wrong, forgive me, everyone. But I feel like,
pushing agendas. That's how me and Queen T say it. But yes.
But I respect all people. Whatever your decision is and whatever you decide to do, that's on you. I just say, before you make any decision in life, before you buy a car, before you buy a house, you're going to do your research, right? Do your research.
I have a question for you ladies, because I was watching the news today and they were talking about how the prices are going up on food and everything else. Now, mind you, you have the prices going up on food, and you have the minimum wage where people are getting paid. Now, let me ask you something. How do you feel like, okay, when it's time for you to retire, do you have concerns about where your income or what's going to happen when you get ready to retire? Whether or not it's going to be, whatnot.
Yes, definitely for me, because I keep hearing rumors that they're running out of money and all of that. And I'm just like, they've been taking this money out of my check since I was little. So by the time I retire, I'm not going to have no Social Security. That ain't fair. But I'm concerned because y'all know I got about 35 more years before I retire. So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned we're going to run out of money.
Yeah. How do you run out of money if it's paid?
That's what I'm saying. And
question, I'll leave that there.
but she's asking.
That's a good question.
That is a good question, and you can print it.
That's a good question. Say it again.
I'm not challenging what you're saying now. What I'm saying is
what?
Like, how do you run out of something that we?
How do you do it
every day?
When you print it, right?
Well, they wasn't printing money for a while. They just recently started printing money. Yeah, they just recently started. So I don't know if it's gonna change. Far as when we get ready to retire. I mean, I thank God I got only a couple more years to go. So I'll be I'll be there still. But I'm still at a part like I won't be able to get my full benefit until I'm like 65. So yeah, I still have concerns on that, especially when you're talking about right now, food prices and everything is going up. So where do that leaves people in our tax bracket? Where do that leave us? So yeah, that's a concern of mine. I just heard this today. So that means
unmute Queen Emma.
What happened, Emma?
I said that's an economic issue. Why they do or do not print money. It depends on, that's a government situation. Right. It depends on the DAO, the gross national product, how much money they have to give out as opposed to how much goods. That's a whole different
nother issue. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I wanted to know how you ladies felt about the about when it comes time for you to retire with everything that's going on.
I try not to worry too far into the future, like not to sound extra spiritual or anything like that, but you literally just have to take everything one day at a time. Be wise, invest or save, whatever you make your own plan. Don't let the government manipulate your plan. If you can control it, if you have some great ideas or some what is it? 7 streams of income we're supposed to have.
Come on.
I think it's 17 instead of 7 at this point. But no, I wouldn't become fearful of that. I'll just do all that I feel are good steps to securing my future financially.
You want me to tell you guys how to secure your future financially? I got the secret. You want to know?
Yes.
Pay your tithes.
Pay your tithes, right?
Pay your tithes. I'm telling you what from experience.
There you go.
The Bible is true. God will open up a window and pour you out a blessing that you will not have room enough to receive. Pay your tithes. Pay your tithes first. If you pay your tithes first, would give God his 10%, work everything out with your 90%, you will never have to worry. You never have to worry. God will take care of those who take care of him.
I'm gonna agree, y'all.
I haven't always been not even because I didn't want to, but sometimes like that's really easy when your money is right. But that's not always everybody's situation.
No. You gotta put God first. Your money. If you pay your tithes first, everything else will wait.
I'm not trying to discourage anybody out there. I'm just speaking from what I have experienced before. All I had on me was what I had to take care of. Like had to, not a want, not shopping, but like if I didn't take this money and do this, we in trouble. And it's been times where I didn't always choose that. Now it's been times where I sold a quarter, and I'm talking about I was like, God, you know my heart. Some people sit on money and they choose not to. I feel like God will deal with those people accordingly. But when you just don't have it, or all you have is really to take care of your household,
But listen, it's really equal sacrifice, not equal giving. You understand what I'm saying? It's equal sacrifice. If all you have to sacrifice is a quarter, God understands that.
I sold that once,
and that's how I'm just telling y'all from my own experience. My father was a trustee. I grew up in church, and we was taught, you pay your tithes and offerings, and you'd be surprised. I mean, I've been paying my tithes and offerings, and you'd be surprised. Like it's almost like you find money. You know what I'm saying? Or money finds you.
At the same time, it's not just financially that you're paying your tithes. You know that, right? It's tithes, it's talent, time, and I know it was one more. I forget
treasure.
Huh?
It's a time, talent, treasure.
And treasure. So it's not just
a lot though.
So I don't want people to think that it's just financially that you paying your tithes and the blessings of
That's
come.
what we grew with.
You know, that's a
whatever is
great.
your 10%. It doesn't necessarily have to be cash. And if I made it sound that way, I didn't mean it. That's what works for me. But whatever is your 10%, whatever is your percent, whether it's your talent, whatever is your 10%, whatever is your 10%. For me, it has always been.
Don't know that
I manage no matter what to pay my 10%.
Also, thank you guys for sharing that. I just did a teaching on tithing. And tithing is not just giving money. So thank you, Lady B, because God says he loves a cheerful giver. You cannot tell me you're cheerful when this is all you have left and you telling me to give it to you. That's not a cheerful giver. So it's so much more to tithe. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But just after doing this research, I was shocked at the information that I was able to get out of what tithing really is. Tithing is worshiping and praising. Tithing is a lot of things, but I just want to say that moving forward, when it comes down to me retiring and am I afraid of whether or not I'm going to have money, I was going to say that I trust God with everything. So right now, I'm like Lady B. I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about tomorrow, or that's a great attitude to take, or just say, I don't really care. That's not what I'm saying at all. You ought to be concerned about how you're going to make it in the near future. But I don't know what tomorrow holds. I'm not God. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. There may be a great reset. I pray for a great reset. A reset means the money flow changes. It means what we're paying for food and what we're paying for homes and all that changes, because the money, it doesn't equal up for a lot of us. I know where I live right now, a apartment starts $1,800. Now, if you're one person, how do you afford that?
Right.
So,
I don't know I don't know what tomorrow holds either, but I know who holds tomorrow. So I don't worry about that.
That's right.
And so I don't even worry about whether or not there's going to be money left for retirement or Social Security or all that. God, I'm telling you, he's going to make a way for us if you're his people and you're trusting in him and you're giving him everything. So if you're that person, God is going to make a way for you. If you're trusting that he's going to do it. I believe that he is the head.
Honey.
I know. I was reading an article. I wish I could have found this article now, but I know they said since this pandemic, it's been a surge of within a number of years. I think it was 35 years of Black businesses that are out there now. I truly forgot how many years has it been, but it says it's been a well of Black businesses coming, that's coming forth now. So I really commend everyone that has came forth and came up with some ideas during this time. So it only proves to you that we are resilient when it comes to time. Well, when things hit the fan, we know how to create wealth. We know what to do to create. We put on our thinking caps and we know how to move. We know how to do things. So that was a blessing, and that was really good to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I was thinking about Queen Emma. She said she has a degree in her hand, and we had a lesson one time in our church, and it was about what do you have in your hand. I don't know why I remember that, but that just stuck with me. What do you have in your hand? And I just feel like what you're holding and your experience and your knowledge you can use that to help other people and make it your own. And I just feel like that's something that you could definitely do and make it your own. It's your money. You ain't splitting it with nobody. So yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your views and opinions on this. This has been an awesome topic. We're gonna turn it over to Tansy for closing.
All right. We thank you, QQ Royalty, for hanging in here with us on this discussion about all things workplace. So we thank you. We pray you receive some information from it, and that you were blessed by what the information that you received. We also always want you to like, comment, share, subscribe, and always kind of follow our social media platforms and all of the shows. Any show in particular that is your favorite, we ask you to share it with some of your friends and your family, so that word can get across and we can get more people to join QQ Royalty. So we appreciate you. Always remember that you have been a part of the Queen's Quarters experience, where there is a king and a queen in you. And we will see you next Wednesday on our new topic. All right, QQ Royalty. Till next Wednesday. God bless.